Have you ever looked at someone well into their 80s, standing tall, laughing freely, walking briskly down the street, and thought, how do they still have so much energy? Maybe it's a neighbor, someone from church, or a familiar face at the local grocery store. They seem to glow with life, like age is just a number and time forgot to slow them down. If you've felt your knees creak a little more lately, or your energy dipping before the sun even sets, you're not alone. But here's something I want you to know. Just because you're getting older doesn't mean you have to settle for feeling old. In fact, many of America's healthiest seniors, people well into their 80s and even 90s, are not just surviving, they're thriving. And the good news? They aren't doing anything magical or extreme. They've simply built some small but powerful habits into their daily lives that keep them sharp, active, and full of joy. In this video, we're going to take a look at 8 of those habits. Simple things that anyone can do, starting today. These aren't gimmicks or quick fixes. They're timeless habits that make a real difference, especially for those of us in our golden years. And I'm not just going to list them, I'll walk you through how they work, why they matter, and how to make them part of your life. So, grab a warm drink, settle in, and let's have a real conversation about living better, longer. Let's start with the first habit, staying socially connected. It might sound simple, but for seniors, this is life-changing. You see, isolation is more dangerous than we often realize. Studies have shown that loneliness can increase your risk of heart disease, depression, even dementia. But the flip side is just as powerful. Regular connection with others can boost your immune system, reduce stress, and add years to your life. But let's get real for a moment. After retirement, after kids grow up and move away, it's easy to find yourself spending more time alone. And sure, there's peace in solitude. But we're wired for connection. Even a simple phone call, a walk with a neighbor, or joining a small group at the local library or senior center can reignite that spark. One woman I know, 84 years old, joined a knitting group at her community center. She didn't even knit at first, she just wanted company. Now, she's got a drawer full of scarves, a calendar full of lunch dates, and a spirit that feels 20 years younger. So, ask yourself, who haven't you talked to in a while? Who lifts your mood when you're around them? Don't wait. Reach out. And if you feel like there's no one, remember, there's always someone looking for connection, just like you. Now, let's talk about the second habit, daily movement without overdoing it. I'm not talking about running marathons or lifting heavy weight. I'm talking about gentle, intentional movement every single day. The healthiest seniors in America aren't necessarily hitting the gym. They're gardening, stretching, dancing in their kitchens, or taking regular walks. Your body craves movement. It keeps your joints lubricated, your muscles active, and your circulation flowing. It also boosts mood in ways medicine can't always reach. But the key is consistency. One older gentleman I admire walks the same park trail every morning at 7 a.m. rain or shine. He's 86 now, and he swears by it. Not because it's intense, but because it's his ritual. It's his time to breathe, to observe the world, to keep moving forward, literally and figuratively. If your knees hurt or your balance feels off, don't push through pain. Adjust. Try seated exercises. Stretch in bed. Walk around the house during commercial break. The point is to keep your body in motion. Gently but regularly. That's how strength builds slowly and safely. Let's move on to one more habit for today, something a lot of folks overlook. Eating mindfully, not just healthfully. Yes, eating healthy matters, but there's something just as important, and that's how you eat. Seniors who thrive past 80 often have one thing in common. They treat meals as moments of care and connection, not just fuel. In Okinawa, Japan, one of the regions with the highest number of centenarians, elders eat slowly, with gratitude. They stop before they feel full. They savor their food. And they almost always eat with someone else. In America, our healthiest seniors do the same. They avoid processed foods, sure, but they also sit down, take their time, and enjoy the act of eating. That small shift makes digestion easier, reduces overeating, and turns meals into something joyful again. Think about the last meal you had. Did you sit down at the table or eat standing at the counter? Were you focused on the taste and the company, or distracted by a screen or worry? Bringing just a little bit of intention back to your meals can do wonders, not only for your body but for your soul. So if you're fixing breakfast tomorrow, try this. Pause before your first bite. Breathe. Appreciate the colors, the smells, the simple fact that you're here to enjoy it. It sounds small, but these little acts of awareness are what build a more vibrant life. Now, take a moment to reflect. Are you staying connected? Are you moving your body, even a little? Are you treating meals as nourishment, not just for your body but for your well-being? Because those three things, connection, movement, and mindful eating, they're not flashy. They're not sold in a bottle. But they're the quiet foundation of thriving health, even into your 80s and beyond. And as we keep going, we'll explore even more of these small but mighty habits, things you can bring into your life without turning it upside down. Now that you're thinking about those quiet, powerful habits like staying connected, moving your body, and eating with intention, let's keep going. Because there's more simple things that are helping thousands of people in their 80s and 90s live fuller, healthier lives. And I'm not talking about the kind of advice that makes you roll your eyes and say, easier said than done. No, these are doable things. Honest, everyday habits that feel good and give back. Let's talk about one that might surprise you: getting enough sleep and not feeling guilty about it. Somewhere along the line, a lot of us picked up the idea that sleeping too much means we're lazy. But let me tell you something straight: rest is not a luxury. It's a necessity, especially as we get older. The healthiest seniors I've met are not night owls running on fumes. They respect their body's natural rhythms. They go to bed around the same time each night, wake up without rushing, and give themselves permission to nap when they need to. Sleep is when your body repairs itself. It's when your brain clears out the clutter. And lack of sleep? That can lead to memory lapses, mood swings, and even a higher risk of falls. One woman I spoke with, 87 years old and sharp as a tack, said she treats her bedtime like an appointment. She winds down with a warm bath, a book, and soft lighting. No news, no stress, no scrolling. You wouldn't skip your medication, she said, so why skip sleep? And she's right. So if you've been brushing off tiredness like it's a weakness, try flipping the script. Make sleep part of your wellness plan. Create a little bedtime ritual that soothes your body and signals your mind it's time to rest. It doesn't have to be elaborate, just intentional. Now, here's another powerful habit that might sound small, but carries big results: staying curious and learning something new every single day. You see, your brain is a muscle, and like any muscle, it needs to be used. The seniors who keep their minds active, those are the ones who tend to stay mentally sharp deep into their 80s and 90s. It doesn't have to be complicated. Some read books or articles. Others learn a new recipe, try out a new app, or ask their grandkids to teach them how to use something on the computer. There's a 90-year-old man in Florida who taught himself how to paint with watercolors after his wife passed. It gave him focus, a sense of purpose, and a whole new way to express himself. Curiosity keeps you young. It's not about piling on facts, it's about staying engaged with the world around you. Asking questions, noticing beauty, trying something different even if you're not good at it. So, what have you always wanted to learn but never had the time? Maybe now is the perfect time to start. Not to impress anyone, not to be perfect, but just to feel alive. And here's another one that almost no one talks about, but it's a quiet superpower in old age: having a sense of purpose. Think about the people you know who seem to just shine, no matter their age. Chances are, they have something to wake up for. Something that gives their days shape and meaning. It doesn't have to be a job. It might be tending to your garden, looking after a pet, volunteering once a week, watching over a great-grandchild after school. Purpose doesn't have to be grand, it just has to be yours. One man I knew lost his wife after 50 years of marriage. He was devastated. But eventually, he found purpose again by writing letters, handwritten notes to people in his life just to tell them what they meant to him. Friends, family, neighbors. It gave him a reason to get up in the morning, and the letters became a treasured gift to others. That's the power of purpose. It doesn't erase the aches and the losses that come with age, but it gives you something beautiful to focus on, something to offer, something to build. So maybe today, ask yourself, what gives me meaning right now? What lights a little spark in my heart when I think about it? And how can I make more space for that in my life? Because that spark? That's fuel. That's energy. And it's just as important as any vitamin or doctor's visit. When you put all of these habits together, resting well, staying curious, finding purpose, they create a rhythm that feels deeply human. Not like chasing youth, but embracing life exactly as it is now, with all the richness and possibility it still holds. You don't have to do it all at once. You don't need to be perfect. You just have to care enough to try. Little by little, one small change at a time. Because these aren't habits of superheroes. They're the habits of real people, people just like you, who decided that aging doesn't have to mean fading away. It can mean rising into something wiser, fuller, and more vibrant than ever. When you start to shift your daily rhythm, giving your body proper rest, feeding your curiosity, and waking up with a sense of purpose, something changes. Life begins to feel more expansive, even in later years. It becomes less about just getting through the day and more about savoring it. And that's the real secret, isn't it? Not just adding years to your life, but adding life to your years. There's another habit I've noticed among the most vibrant seniors, and it might seem incredibly simple. They laugh often, and they don't take themselves too seriously. You might be surprised how many people in their 80s and 90s credit laughter as one of their biggest health boosters. Now, this isn't about ignoring the hard stuff. Aging isn't easy, and life doesn't stop throwing challenges your way. But the folks who thrive past 80 are the ones who can still find the humor in things, the absurdity, the irony, even in the little messes of daily life. They share funny stories. They laugh at themselves. And in doing so, they lighten their load. There's something healing about laughter. It lowers stress hormones, boosts your immune system, and even helps with pain management. I once met a retired nurse, 84 years old, who said she treats laughter like her daily medicine. She calls her best friend every morning just to giggle about nonsense, as she puts it. That giggle, she says, sets the tone for her entire day. So maybe we could all use a little more of that. Watch a funny movie. Read something lighthearted. Share a silly moment with someone you love. Life is serious enough. We don't need to make it heavier. A little laughter now and then is like opening a window and letting the fresh air in. Now let's talk about a habit that isn't always visible, but it's deeply felt. Gratitude. The seniors who age gracefully, who stay emotionally strong and mentally resilient, they all share this one thing. They practice gratitude not just once in a while, but every day. They notice what's good, even when things aren't perfect. They might say something like, "The knees ache, but at least I've still got them." Or, "The day was quiet, but wasn't the sky beautiful this morning?" It's not forced positivity. It's a way of seeing life through a lens that focuses on what's still here, what still matters. There's one woman I'll never forget. She's 91, lives alone, walks with a cane, and has arthritis in both hands. But every morning, she takes her coffee out to the porch and writes down 3 things she's thankful for. Some days, it's something as small as, "My neighbor brought me soup." Other days, it's as big as, "I made it through another winter." That daily habit of gratitude changes how she feels. She says it helps her worry less and appreciate more. And science backs her up. Gratitude has been linked to better sleep, lower blood pressure, and even reduced symptoms of depression. You don't need a journal or a fancy ritual. Just pause for a moment once a day and ask yourself, What's one good thing right now? That's all it takes to start shifting your mindset. And over time, that shift can make all the difference. Finally, let's talk about something that often gets overlooked, but might just be one of the most powerful habits of all: letting go. The healthiest seniors I know aren't the ones who carry every regret, every slight, or every past hurt with them. They're the ones who've learned how to release what no longer serves them. That doesn't mean they forget. It means they choose peace. They've forgiven people, not always because the other person deserved it, but because they deserved to feel free. They've stopped obsessing over what they should have done differently. They've stopped clinging to grudges that weigh them down. And in doing so, they've made space for joy, for love, for clarity. One gentleman I met, a quiet 89-year-old with hands like worn leather, told me this: "There's no room in an old man's heart for old anger." I needed that space for my grandchildren. That line stayed with me. Because that's what letting go really does. It creates space. Space for what matters now. Maybe there's something you've been holding on to, an old disappointment, a conflict, a mistake. Maybe it's time to loosen your grip just a little. You don't have to fix everything, but you can release it. Gently. Bit by bit. Because the truth is, thriving past 80 isn't about defying time. It's about aligning with it. Letting it shape you, soften you, and help you become more fully yourself. You've lived a life full of moments, some beautiful, some painful, some ordinary. And every one of them has shaped the person you are today. Stronger, wiser, and still full of potential. If you take anything away from all of this, let it be this: aging well doesn't come from luck. It comes from small, loving choices made day after day. You don't need perfect genes, a fancy gym membership, or some miracle supplement. You just need to move your body, nourish your mind, rest when you're tired, laugh as often as you can, and focus on what's good. Even now, especially now, your days can be rich with purpose, connection, and discovery. It's never too late to start a new habit. It's never too late to feel better, to grow, to thrive. And if this video sparks something in you, a memory, a goal, a quiet motivation, I'd love to hear about it. Share your thoughts down in the comments. What habits have helped you feel stronger as you've gotten older? Your story might be the encouragement someone else needs today. If you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more gentle, powerful ways to live your best life at every age. Here's to you, the journey you've lived, the wisdom you carry, and the many beautiful moments still ahead. Keep thriving. You deserve nothing less.